Jeffrey, are y'all settled in and situated over there? Because I know the lighting wasn't quite right. About 30 seconds ago.
I gotta, gotta get the tone. I gotta get waxed. I gotta, you never know.
Well, you don't want to put on too much of the foundation, right? Too much of the makeup stuff. Isn't that what it's called? Foundation or something? Or
foundation and cake and pancake and all that stuff. Yeah, right. I definitely don't want to be sporting the Tammy Faye look. So
that's right. God, I used to play with this guy some doubles. Just a great guy, but he had a little vanity thing going on where he'd come out some days and he'd rub his towel. And you could see he didn't want anyone to see what he'd kind of rubbed up. But what was the stuff for acne that you'd put on? It was like
Clearasil.
Maybe it was Clearasil. I don't know what it was. But one day I said, dude, what is that? What's coming off on your face? He goes, oh, it's nothing. It's nothing. And I just said, God, did that zit just pop out now? Yeah, it's the. I don't know what he said. Maybe he said, it's the Clearasil. I said, all right, we're just playing tennis. It's okay. So, anyway, we're quickly getting off topic here. We don't even have it. Yeah. We've sort of got a topic, but guys, welcome to another episode of the Gold Ball Hunting Podcast. I'm Brent Abel.
More coffee. Jeff needs more coffee.
Jeff needs more coffee. Well, it's 3:41 here in the afternoon in Umag, Croatia. It's just, you're still in your second cup of coffee there, I guess, in Pontiac, Michigan. But this is the Gold Ball Hunting Podcast. If you are brand new, welcome. And Jeff and I are really helping tennis players, whether you're tournament players, whether you're league players, or you're those guys who play, just kind of the Wednesday night brew crew. We are doing something that no one else actually talks about out there, which is to reduce your skill level range. Now, if you don't put the word range in there, that would be like a negative experience. That'd be like negative teaching. Right. We're not trying to reduce your skill level. We're trying to reduce your skill level range. Yes, where one day you go out there and you play just incredible, and then the next day you go out there and lay an egg. And that difference between your good stuff and your not so good stuff is your skill level range. The way that you build confidence in a game of tennis is that you start to bring the bottom of that range up to the top. And the way that you do that is if you're brand new, just go over to goldballhunting.com, drop in a first name and email address, and you'll get access to two very cool things. Number one will be a video that Jeff and I recorded back in January of this year that really talks about how do you reduce that skill level range. And the second thing is you get access to our online calendar scheduler where, Jeff, you and I continue to give away a free private coaching call, 10, 12, 15 minutes, whatever we need. But you got to bring that one thing in your game right now where you feel that is just a real problem for you and you're just struggling trying to figure it out. And if you could figure it out, you might start getting that result you want, whether it's singles, doubles. Could be technique, could be strategies, tactics, could be physical, could be mental. Mental, which is basically one of the topics we're going to yak about today, is the mental part of the game. But you can find all that good stuff over at goldballhunting.com. So, Jeff, yesterday we talked about that situation where you come out, you have a great warm-up.
Yeah.
I mean, whether it's singles or doubles, and you're just cleaning the ball like there's no tomorrow. And it's just, you're feeling like, oh my God, I kind of feel sorry for these guys today because right. I might actually embarrass them a little bit, or singles, whatever.
Going to put the hurt on them.
Going to put the big hurt on. And then you go out there and the match starts and it doesn't go the same way as the warm-up did. And in fact, you're just terrible. You're horrible, right? You can't find the court and you're way out in front and it's a shank fest. And your confidence, which was way up here in the warm-up, is now down in the bottom of the tank. And you're going, what just happened? I just lost that first set 6-2. We should be killing these guys. And so then what do you really do to kind of regroup? And I did a solo episode, which is rare for us. It didn't work out for us because of time zones. You had a huge thing going on the day before. We couldn't get a recording going.
Yeah.
But my thing was that it used to be that if that had happened to me, I would have panicked. I would have kind of freaked out and started building the story, the excuse story. Okay, well, let's see. What can I come up with today to tell the fellas when I'm done why I stunk it up so bad? And I used to do that. But I guess over the years and experience, I've come to realize that if you just relax and just take a chill pill and just trust, and for me the big word is trust, that if you don't fight this, that not that it's a guarantee, but that you give yourself the best chance of your game coming back in, and you simply just settle down. And I think that's one of the things in the warm-up that we get so fired up in the warm-up because we're hitting the ball so well. Our expectations just get out of control. And we all know that the real match can be different than the warm-up, or it can be different than yesterday when you had that great practice couple of sets. So, and that was a match I played a couple of days ago in doubles where my partner and I just kind of came out of the blocks not playing well. We finally settled down. I think we won the second and third 6-2, 6-1, just kind of. And I kept telling my guy, he was going, God, what's going on? What's going on? I said, we're going to be okay.
Yeah.
We're going to be just fine. Okay. So, but I want to talk about today, which is kind of the opposite thing, where maybe either you have a great warm-up or maybe you have a lousy warm-up, and then you go out there, Jeff, and you play out of your mind for the first set.
Yeah.
And you either singles or doubles, and you go 6-1. Yeah, baby, I have got it today. And that little thing in between after you win set point and the start of the first point of the second set, it's not tangible, but sometimes we can do a little something upstairs. Yeah. Whether it's
or a lot of something upstairs.
A lot of something upstairs. Some of it's the well, I guess these guys ought to give it to us now because we're playing so well.
Right.
They're just going to lay down. The next thing you know is you find yourself now all of a sudden you've won the first set 6-1. Now you're down. They're serving at 5-1 in the second. You're going, what just happened?
Right.
And they end up holding serve at love, and now you're going into the third. So since I've been yakking the whole time, I just came off the court and I had a cappuccino or two, which aren't too bad here. I better give the floor to you. So what do you do? I mean, you got a story of a singles or doubles thing where you came out of the blocks just tearing it up, Jeff, and then the next thing you know is the second set gets away from you. Either those guys over there kind of loosened up, or you missed a few balls, but all of a sudden you've lost that second set. What do you do to kind of regroup?
I mean, personally for me, it's you lose the present tense. You become, you're playing great. You're having a great first set. You knock it out of the park. It's great. And then, on the changeover, it's very easy to start looking at the finish line, even though you're only one set in. You project, you look at the finish line, you're starting to feel, you're just kind of cruising through this stuff. And I think one of the things we don't take into account enough is recognition of our opponent. Is he just having a slow first set? I mean, I know there's guys out there that I don't even blink because I know who they are. I know the quality of tennis they play. And so this tends, for me, this is my personal, tendency is that this happens with players that I'm unfamiliar with, or my assumption is I usually beat these guys, blah, blah, blah. There's certain players I know who they are, and I know if I'm playing them and I take them out heavy in the first set that, this guy hasn't even shown up yet.
Yeah.
So don't get all hypey and like, hey, this is going to be great. Come out to the coast, have a few drinks, it'll be great. But I think that's where most of the time it gets away from us, is that we've won the first set, we put it on cruise control. If you're in the Tesla mode, let it drive itself, and it's going to be great. And the reality is that has the other guy actually shown up yet? And when they do, all of a sudden you're not really aware that he's not missing the third and fourth ball like he was in the first set. Now he's actually making that ball. Not that he's doing any heavy damage, but you're 1-2 shots deeper into a rally now than you were in the whole first set.
Yeah.
And so all of a sudden your expectation of how quick the points are going, and that is you're lost in it a little bit, and all of a sudden the important points have kind of slipped by. And now you find yourself, in a hole 5-2, he's serving for the second set, or you've already lost the second set kind of quickly. And now you're kind of like, grasping at straws to kind of regroup yourself for the third set. So I think, for me, that's the biggest, what I've noticed is you've stopped paying attention to the reality of what happened the first set. Yeah. It's not just that you played great. It's that maybe the other guy also was part of the situation there, and he just hadn't shown up yet. Maybe he was late to the tournament, just stepped out of the car, stepped on the court. Here you go, and it took him a set to finally, find his stride and find his rhythm. And now you're kind of off in la la land, thinking, "Where's the end of the match?"
So for me, the last couple of days of my singles matches, it's been the same thing. I mean, it's been both sets have been 6-1. And yet I just know that I just don't trust that. I just don't trust the score anymore. When I win the first set 6-1, I become so vigilant that this is like, all right, come on, man. When's the other shoe going to drop? When are you actually going to start not missing? Or when am I going to start missing? Or I played this Irish guy today, just a great guy, John, and I hit in the first set a couple lucky let chords. In the second one, he said, laddie, that's 2. I said, well, luck of the Irish? I don't know. Something. So anyway, but it's like I used to just kind of go, whew, okay, well, good. I mean, I got the first set on my belt, 6-1. Wow, I'm cruising. And as you said, it's not always the case. It's just not always the case. So yeah, for me, it's and that's really off topic of what we're talking about today. I mean, what we're really talking about is I guess it's for me, the matches the last 2 days. All right, I didn't trust the score and went on to win. The second sets score wise. Jesus Christ! Sorry.
Ooh, bless you.
Thank you. Boy, there's going to be some major editing in this episode. But I went on to win, both the second sets of those matches, score-wise pretty easily, but just never, ever that thought that I got this thing in the bag. I mean, I just got to keep working. So, but on the flip side, Jeff, we're talking.
Well, I think
we're talking about a situation where, let's say you win the first set, great, and then something goes wrong in the second set. I mean, I kind of look at it in that third set is that, you know what, I get a clean slate. It's not like the thing is flipped over. It's not changed. I actually right. get a clean slate. And that's one of the beauties of the scoring system in tennis is there's the set is over. And you get to have a
right.
You get to have a mental shift. I mean, you can actually create that yourself in terms of, okay, we get to start fresh with a clean slate. And for me, it's really about having a super positive mindset, not a cocky mindset, but just positive that this is the way it happens sometimes. It's just the scoring system in tennis, right? And so right. Why not come out of it as positive, at least start that third set as positively as possible? Should you make some tactical changes? I don't know. Maybe you should, but maybe it's just that all you got to do to stop going for it quite so quickly in the point. Why don't you get that return to serve and stop going up the line and trying to end the point when you're trying to get all these. You've lost. You're now down in the second set and you're trying to regain some command. And the way you do that is by right. trying to pull the trigger too early. So. It could be tactical in terms of nothing other than what you've come up with, a brilliant saying, which is monitor and adjust. And maybe that's the key between that second and third set when You came out of the blocks right in the first, and then it just got bad in the second. Well, can you non-emotionally monitor and adjust how you want to start that third set?
Well, yeah, I think again, it's always about personal recognition as you're playing, and everybody gets lost in a match at one time or another where you're kind of not aware of what the shift was. Like you said, we played a great first set, 6-1, 6-2, kind of blow the doors on the guy, and then all of a sudden it's reversed. It's 6-2 the second set, and do you have the wherewithal to kind of look at it and go, you know what? I was feeling kind of overconfident, and I started squeezing my margins a little bit tight in the second. He was playing an extra ball every point, every rally, so that put me, off. And so then I started looking for the exit a little bit quicker and going for a little too much. And so it's not about, oh, this guy's now playing brilliant tennis across the net. It's, did you leave your strategy? Did you leave your script? And do you have the wherewithal to get back to it and say, you know what, I don't need to inflict as much pain every ball as I started, thought I, was just going to go with in the second set, which ended up actually creating errors, error after error after error. And so it's, are you willing to get back to the journeyman work? What was my plan? Let's get to it. It's okay if he touches the ball, and let's work the point. It may take you an extra ball or two to finish, but who cares? Are you, have you decided that you want to be there today? Like all day? Are you willing to go, to the end and walk down that road and decide, you know what, I'm willing to do the work to get the victory today?
Well, I think there's another component here too, is that you win the first set, and next thing you know is the second set starts to slip away, and you realize, gosh darn it, I have not put in the hard yards in terms of the training, the fitness component, and now all of a sudden I'm starting to panic a little bit, because if the second set does slip away, I got to play a third, and it's like overcast here in Umag, it's still hot, and blah, blah, blah. Am I willing to just forget about that and go ahead and just play the third? And if it means like what you just said, go and hit another extra ball or two, let that guy contribute to you winning the match. If you don't have the fitness thing down, then, man, you're in trouble. It's as simple as that. It's just that. So that's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of pressure to have to win matches in straight sets. And I can see where someone's going to go, well, look, I got to win this in straights, and then you don't win the first set, and you go, oh boy, now what?
Right. And the bad thing there is that that's a controllable. Your fitness is a controllable, and I can tell you, because you've interviewed me before and we've talked about it, a lot, and that is, your confidence just goes through the roof when you feel physically fit and you can stay out there till midnight tomorrow night if that's what it takes to get the match done.
That's right.
And when you walk on a court in that kind of sensibility, then it really, your willingness to say to yourself, I'm willing to stay out here as long as it takes and come up with a solution now. Find my way back to what I was doing the first set, or find my way back into a new solution. Whatever it might take. And so that's the big, for anybody out there, the epiphany there isn't, I'm playing this guy today who's always super fit. Well, it's not his problem. I mean,
it's your problem.
He's done the work.
Right.
So, I had a match, at Indian Wells there, a few years ago, and the guy was, at the end of the match, said, it was kind of a silly comment. He goes, well, I really hope your next round gives you more of a game than I did today. And he was kind of, angsty about it. And I just politely said, okay. And I thought to myself, I busted my hump to be in this kind of shape, to walk into this tournament, to really test where I'm at.
Right.
And so for me, I just kind of went,
okay, whatever.
So is that my fault? I did the work?
That's right.
Well,
listen, guys. So listen, I hope you got something out of today's episode, which is a couple things. Number one is, just because the 180, what we talked about yesterday, just because this day you come out of the starting blocks like gangbusters, and you win that first set easy, man, be super, super vigilant with the start of that second set that you do not kind of go, well, I can kind of take my foot off the gas a little bit here. Doesn't mean that you have to actually completely bury the guy or your doubles opponents, but it does mean that you got to keep working. And I told, this thing here with the World Cup, one of the great things is you can have one of your teammates sit on your bench so that when on side changes, you can do some coaching. And so I played number 2 singles the last 2 days, and then I sat on the bench for the next match, which is the number 1 singles, and told my guy, Bob Litwin, who, theoretically had a tougher opponent than I did. And even though the scores were lopsided, I kept telling him at the beginning of the second set, Bobby, you got to keep working. Do not create any bad habits right here. You got to keep working. You cannot trust the score. Let's go. And he's going, okay, all right, man, okay, fine. And it's true. It's true. So I've got a question for whoever's watching this on YouTube or anyone who's listening to this on Stitcher or iTunes. In terms of the mental, we'll talk about just the general mental skills of being a competitor in senior tennis. I'm talking about leagues, and I'm talking about tournaments, whether it's the local or regional or national or whatever it is. Who do you want to learn the mental part of the game from? Do you want to read what Rafa does? Do you want to read what Fed does? Or do you want to read what someone has been doing for maybe even longer than Rafa or Fed, did not have a team around them for the last 30 or 40 years, actually went through the whole thing of sucking in the beginning, right? I mean, not only were the strokes maybe not great, but they came out of the blocks, I came out of the blocks as a mental midget. I've got a story that started where I was just pathetic mentally. And really had to kind of figure it out, right? Really had to kind of figure this thing out.
Right.
But I'm curious as to what our listeners and viewers, who they want to learn from. Are they looking to learn from someone who's maybe now turned themselves into a multi 10, 20, 30, 40, 50-time gold baller, whether it's singles or doubles? Right. And obviously, the mental thing is a big part of doing that. And, are those the kind of people that you want to hear from, their stories, what they've gone through? And because to me, it's way more relatable. If you can hear from someone who never played in the tour, maybe someone who never played in college, and then maybe they took the game up when they were 25 or 30 or 40 or whatever, and they found a way. They found a way to figure out the game in terms of enough stroke technique, right? Enough strategy.
They never hit a topspin backhand, and never will.
And they'll never need to. Well, maybe once in a while. But I'm just curious about the mental thing. Who you want to learn? Who you really want to hear from. So, guys, with that, before I give Jeff the floor here to sign us off today. Is that something that you'd be interested in? I mean, if Jeff and I could do some interviews with 5 or 6, 7, prolific gold ballers and their stories about how they went through the whole mental process of just choking and just coughing up leads and just frustration and what they went through to figure it out to become a national champ over and over. So we'd just love to read your comments and thoughts and questions on that. Jeff, I think we're done for today's episode number 247.
All right.
What would we like to find folks to do right now?
Like us, share us, please subscribe. Answer Brent's question down below.
Boom, boomski.
And if you're on iTunes and Stitcher, please rate and review.
Outstanding. Guys, there it is. It's going to rain here pretty soon. We might be rained out tomorrow. I don't know. Guys, get out there today, wherever you are. Help someone else have a great day. Jeff, let's do this again tomorrow.
Can't wait.
Okay.